Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Barotrauma. As we continue along, we've got our budget, Boyce, the budget captain, as we sort of try and fix this situation that we're in. I will just say at the top as well, given the popularity of this, the history of the channel with Barotrauma, and its recent release, I've reached out to the dev and I'm trying to organise some more copies and that to maybe get a bit of a crew together so we can showcase some multiplayer. It's not really something I normally do, so bear with me. I'll probably get us some recorded sessions going like that, and then I'll have to edit it all together because, you know, people with inside jokes, it's not always that funny, but I'm sure I can make something out of it if people are interested. Express your interest there for videos of a multiplayer session, but even if that does happen, it might be a little while off, because the format's a little bit different to what I'm used to, which is 30-minute stream of consciousness. Anyway, back onto this. We're all the way back at Curie, right? It's been a long trek back. What are these? What is this? A row of posters on the wall. Looks like the outpost directorial election is. Oh no. A gallery of stern-looking people are observing the hallway, conveniently grouped according to their political affiliation. No. Fuck off. My only comment on that is I appreciate that it's optional, then it's just a side thing. If you're some perpetually online person that can't divorce video games from politics, well, there you go, the developers are appealing to you. That's cool, I guess, but what's even cooler is that I can just ignore it, and in 2 seconds from now, I'm gonna forget it was there. A passing scientist grabs hold of you. It lives! Who would have thought it would ever live? Their eyes are wide open and sporting impressive bags under them. Now this I'm curious about. What are you talking about? I was too preoccupied with asking can I instead of should I. They pace back and forth, directing each word to a different passerby. When it becomes clear to them that nobody's paying any attention besides you, they turn their attention back to you. Oh wow, it's great to be top pick. Are you not listening to me? The hysterical researcher bellows, sending drops of spittle across your face. A human crawler hybrid. Oh no. No. Oh, it's beautiful. No. Hideous. They sit down, cross-legged on the floor. How will the scientific community remember me? As a creator? A destroyer? They pose to no one in particular, dare I say, a god? Probably a loser, a Twitter user. Looking at the scientists now writhing on the floor, gibbering and laughing to themselves. You are somewhat grateful that the end comes in your line of work quickly and violently instead of a slow spiral into madness. True, their claims of having successfully bred a human crawler hybrid are obviously fantastical, although there is a small part of you that wants to believe. Why? Maybe you could check the lab just in case? I don't know about that. Where's the lab? Maybe I will have a look. I don't know. There's probably nothing there. The game's just baiting me, which is kind of clever, to be honest. Alright. Money situation is tragic. There's no captains for hire anyway. What we really need is missions. We'll just spam, right? Because we are getting a lot of repeated text. It's all pretty standard fare, standard practice. For 300 bucks, I'm not really gonna get a lot out of it. The one thing I will check is like, oh, if I go to sell, oh, will they only buy certain things? Is that? Ah, okay. Yeah, because what I wanted to do, if I go to a shop, they tell you what stock you have of, say, fuel rods. I wouldn't mind knowing at a glance what the fuel rod situation is. Well, this seems, if anyone's going to sell me a fuel rod, it's going to be this bloke, surely. Oh, sell. Whoops. Really? Really? Fuel. It's a bit tragic. I really do want to know. Well, the truth is it's not going to make a huge difference either way, right? So, I think we just get a wriggle on. We've taken our missions. Now this is interesting. Medical transport down to a new area. Someone said that by default the European radiation is turned off. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know why the devs would do that. It seems like leaving an important mechanic out of your gameplay settings. It strikes me, because to me, that infers if this is the default setting, then the European radiation doom timer is not an intended mechanic. It's a mutator, which seems really strange. I would have swear that that would be an intended mechanic to force the player forward. But again, I'm a big advocate for playing the game as the way that the developers intended. And if they're saying by default it shouldn't be intended, then they must want me to just grind on this line until I'm comfortable to move forward. Okay, I kind of assumed Barotrauma had a bit more pressure to it, but no, final release, that seems to be what the developers want the experience to be. Just grinding and in your comfort zone. I don't know how to feel about that. We could do missions out here, of which there are plenty, but I think we might actually go all the way along this line. Just do the simple transport, very low difficulty. We've had such a bad run, it would be mad not to play conservatively right now, right? 960 marks if you can get them there. Medical items. Okay. What is this nonsense? Dock at the next station? Oh, it sounds like the medic's doing their thing. Everyone's on a gun. Good. Very good. Seems to be tutorializing me. It's a bit strange. Repairs, leaks, medical. Yeah, that'll do. Still got the assistant's duffel bag down in the ballast tank I should probably go look into. It's only 400 meters, it's not that bad. We're quick about it. I know I dragged at the beginning, but we had some things to discuss. If we're quick about it, we might be able to get another episode, another, mission in. Oh, okay. I wonder if they get XP for shooting the ice spire. Because we're just flying straight across. Also, we do seem to get like blips that look like caves and that sometimes, sort of like water flow. Might have to examine them at some point. But again, we're sort of just playing it safe for the moment. Geez, that wasn't a bad, almost shot from afar. Really? Not bad. How's our rep going? Europa likes us. No one dislikes us. The Jovians are the opposition by the look of it. I don't know, anyone with a symbol like that can get stuffed. There's my affiliation. Oh wow, how cool is this place? Wait, why am I spawned in here? Where even am I? Might be because I'm not the captain. Okay, cool. Let's rinse and repeat. Missions. Oops, that's not the jump button, that's the go floppy button. Oh, you've got missions as missions? Beautiful. Alright. Loaded. I might just check. People were saying in the comments that captains are quite rare. And they probably come from more, like this, like more like built up cities. Which is a good point actually. This is awesome, this area. It's like a city. Yeah, again, no captains. 1,200 bucks. Let's go shopping. Really, I'm really worried about the fuel rod situation. There's a shop down there, but how do I get to that? Oh, you know what? It's probably all the way across. I mean, do I need to heal? Might as well heal all the little bits and bobs of the crew. 19 marks, that's fine. Before they become... Not that they develop into serious injuries, but every little bit helps. Alright, so you're the doctor, and as much as I'd love to get stock up on doctor's supplies. See, I think the doctor is usually near the healer, so it's worth keeping that in mind. You can sort of look at that and go, that's probably the doctor shop. Oh, it says medicine merchant. I didn't even realize that they have labels. Cultist merchant. Well, we have to check that out. Even if just to laugh at him. Somebody fat neckbeard pagan sitting in his basement. Go in there and telling him and all his mates to keep their voices down. Just the one bloke. Anyway, is that it there? Merchant. Arms dealer. Medicine merchant. Cultist merchant. I tell you what, this base is a little bit of a pain to navigate. Did I run no, that merchant's in there. Engineering, well, you know what, the engineering merchant is what we want. Because fuel rods, surely. Stock, alright, so I own 8. 8 is a lot. That's fine. That's actually fine, honestly. I'm gonna take my missions and we're gonna blast through a second one as quick as we can. Because we need to save some bank, I think, and we just need more crew, right? I need dedicated gunners and then people running around doing ancillary jobs as well. So what's going down here? Let's keep running the line. Mining uranium ore? I think we can handle that, can't we? Yeah. Yeah. It might be, how did the captain die last time? I'm just sort of trying to get my head around who I should play as. I think I have to play as the captain. So that getting geared up for multiplayer, I trialed run with like a couple of mates the other night because, you know, there's a lot to teach someone about this game and that as well. And honestly, if I do a multiplayer session, I'm not super interested in being the captain myself, if I can help it. I wouldn't mind a sea change. Also, from a viewer perspective, it'd be nice to get off the radar, right? So I was getting a mate to try out captain. It's kind of cool, actually. I like playing the medical officer, but it's not quite as, like, it's complex, but the answer often is just press a button. So the system's complex, almost like Distant Worlds 2, which we're also covering. Wonderful game. So the medical system in this is very complex. And I guess in that moment when a dude is bleeding from 5 different holes, figuring out how to, you know, deal with him without overdosing him on, oh, there's the uranium up there, fuck. Without, like, giving him a morphine overdose is important. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's alright, that should be in a good position for the 4-gun. It seems my front gunner is off the gun. Oh, he's back now. I think we're good now. Yeah, someone's repairing now. Something I was going to say, and it might be worth taking the time in an episode, is having a look at the different skill trees for each character. These here, right? Because I haven't had a look too much. But I found the assistant really interesting. These are fixed. The assistant always has these 3 that I looked at just before I logged off. Oh, the uranium was right here. Oh, we're going to shoot all the spires? Autopilot. But the assistant can be skilled in multiple ways. I didn't look at any of the other trees. It was just the assistant because I hadn't been playing and I was curious. In fact, well, that centers up. I'll show you what I'm sort of getting at. So these, I think, are set. And you can actually see, like, when you die, your crewmates get a damage reduction. And then there's, like, catch-up mechanics. Because your talent, your XP seems to be shared across the crew. You know, I don't get individual XP, we get group XP, right? So I think a lot of the assistant playstyle is kind of expendable. Because if you die, you lose 75% of all your accumulated points. So it's really penalizing. But then you've also got catch-up mechanics as well, right? If you're 2 levels behind, you get more XP. So the grey shirt's a cool joke on the red shirt. So the assistant can be played as a red shirt, can lean into the clown nonsense as well. But I just find it interesting that you can lean into, you know, people make money each time you die, depending on how many missions you've lived through, you know? And that makes me want to look at the other classes' trees. We won't necessarily do that right now, but each of these trees, like even the apprentice, you can build extra shelves, which is really interesting. Would be really helpful. But like this, he apprentices off of another class, like the electrical engineer. And if you unlock this, he unlocks the entire tree, one of the trees the engineer has. So there's value in going the assistant and a certain play style. I'm not necessarily saying I want to go assistant, but I need to look at the other trees to understand how that works. Okay, let's get moving. Right, I've got the repair tools. I've got a welding tool, but I'm kind of short on welding fuel. I wonder. What's the fuel rod situation? It's not fantastic. I think we'll go as is. Because there is a chance that there will be welding fuel over there. We're mostly interested in repairing. Oh, what I need is a fuel rod. The game told me that there are fuel rods. Is the engineer just holding them? Is that what's going on? Oh, here we go. You know what? I'll just swap it. We'll leave that sundry one there. Eldo, are you hoarding fuel rods? What about you, Cherie? Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. It's, you know what, it's because I haven't really told anyone to clean up, because we've been struggling with staff so hard. Alright, we'll take that. Alright, I've got oxygen, I've got repairs, I've got a fuel rod. I'm gonna want a plasma cutter, I think, just in case. Handheld sonar. Yeah. Oh look, I guess I don't need those. Jeez, how much crap am I collecting? I guess I'm grabbing them off bodies. Yeah, okay. Should be above. Was it directly above, or? It's over here. There we go. Oh, right, of course, I'm not doing a beacon repair station. Sorry, I was on autopilot. Huh. Oh well. You live, you learn, I guess. Oh, that was pretty uneventful. Not the best way to handle the airlock, oh well. I might even just put a fuel rod in there, leave it for next time, you know? Okay. Plug that in. Plug those in. Now we're laughing. Off we go. Make a few dollars. Yeah, so yeah, like I grabbed a couple of friends. It was funny, we were only going to try out for half an hour and then we played a little bit. But it was all very much just test and adjust. I wouldn't exactly call it content, not with the full crew. But we took out the other new sub, the Barotrauma. Because at first it was just me and one other bloke trying to run this without bots, and it was very, very difficult. But the Barotrauma you can run with 2 or 3 easily. Much smaller, it's got some blind spots, it's got some limitations, but it's way more manageable. But I would say you wouldn't want more than 3 people. 4, it would be crowded. Which makes sense, because that's supposed to only be crewed with 1 to 3. This is supposed to be 3 to 5. Makes sense with the suit allocation. But it's cool as well, because we were commenting, it was like we couldn't do more than 3 people on this ship. There is some work to be done, but even the maintenance, keeping maintenance under control seems doable. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. It would be interesting. So yeah, hopefully I can get a video together. Like, no promises, who knows? Might break my friendship group, you know. But it's one of those things. I could almost do a side-chained commentary here on it, because I can't really do commentary at the time when you're in a multiplayer session. But even just now, talking about my findings in the limited amount of time that I spent with it, looking at skill trees and all that sort of stuff, I think there's probably value to that sort of chat. What I'll do now, actually, I might just take a moment. Let's actually go through these a little bit. It might seem a little dry, but I was kind of, once I started reading them, I realized that you could do some really cool stuff. So I'll skim over this because I'm familiar. But this here, crew layabout, for example, right? 40% repair speed reduction and 15 minus to every skill. So makes your character bricked. Allies near you get 25% faster and gain a bonus of 10 to all skills, which is an outrageous upgrade, right? So there's something to be said about just being present. So you could, like, if you wanted to play that way. Gain 15% bonus XP on cargo missions. So that's kind of really cool as well, because that will give a bonus to the entire crew, right? I don't know if it's cumulative if you have multiple assistants, but that's pretty wild. All the XP bonuses. If you're 2 or more levels behind the most highest level crew member, gain an additional 100% mission experience. Again, the only way that this is ever going to happen, realistically, is if you came into a server late, maybe, or if you died, and you respawned. Well, I guess in this case, he's a late hire, because you can still hire bots in the main campaign, which I think we might still have to do in the multiplayer. Especially if you're in some of the larger late game ships, I think you need bots. But yeah, so that's cool. So this sort of almost incentivizes you dying before anyone else, because like I said, you lose 3/4 of your XP. Skedaddle, move fast, so when you're attacked it increases by 30%, okay. When you die, your crewmates gain 30% physical resistance for 2 minutes. When completing a mission, give the lowest level crew member 50% bonus XP. That's actually really cool. So this dude's like a support role, in a way. Jack-in-the-Box clown crate recipe. Yeah, so he does have the clown tree. Nearby allies to gain a bonus of 15 to all skills for 10 seconds when honking a bike horn. Okay. I mean, it is a support role. It makes sense. Like, I don't love the clown theme. It kind of shits me because it's all the traitor loser stuff. But, you know, if you were going to have a class, hey, we're going to support people, maybe play an instrument or something, but I guess the bike horn will do. Grey shirt, right? When waiting for CPR, your vitality decreases slower. So there you go. Same sort of idea. You can go down easier than others. Or it's more viable. Enemies ignore you if you've ragdoll for more than 2 seconds. They'll almost play as a tank in a way, you know, run in, ragdoll. I don't know what to, you know. Maybe it's not so much the tank or the combat dude, but more of the high risk guy. Hey, we need someone to run in there and try and do this thing and repair it, and there's a good chance you're gonna die. Send the assistants. You know, not necessarily, hey, we need to fight this monster. You send the security guy for that. 100% resistance to the Reaper's tax. I can't quite remember that, but I think it's a tax if you die and respawn in multiplayer. This is a multiplayer trait. Whenever you die from a non-friendly source during a mission. Oh, and the other thing actually worth mentioning is a lot of these death things don't apply to a bot in a campaign. So the apprentice, or at least the apprentice trees like this, are very much for multiplayer characters that die a lot. Does that make sense? Because in this, you die, you're just deleted, right? If you die in multiplayer, you come back in a like a shuttle. But so you lose all the XP, you respawn. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that tax is pretty much only for multiplayer because you don't respawn in this, but you respawn at great penalty. Which I think is great, discussing it with the guys I was testing. The fact that you lose 3/4 of your XP if you die kind of makes you sweat harder, makes you take the game more seriously and not just throw it all away. Yeah, so whenever you die from a non-friendly source, your crew is paid 200 marks for each mission you've completed since the last time you died, so that's kind of awesome. The friends who made. Now what is this? Turn unhatched Mudraptor eggs, Mudraptors into friendlies? Oh my god, so you can have like pets? Oh, that's crazy. Anyway, okay, but the point, I think honestly, I'm just gonna illustrate the point. I don't wanna sit here for half an hour reading everything off, but each tree, like this tree's obviously, it's called Grey Shirt, which is a play on Red Shirt. This leans very hard into the death sort of thing, right? Whereas this one, apprenticing, Clown is like got stuns and it really it's kind of a wild card tree. And I haven't looked at the other trees, to be honest, but I can only assume, while they might not be quite as wild, that... Oh yeah, there we go. He's already leveled up a few things. Weapons engineer. You can craft much cheaper nuclear shells and... Oh my god, Jesus. Lightning wizard. PhD in nuclear physics. Your attacks with crowbars are 200% more powerful. Oh, this is a Half-Life reference. That's kind of cool. Again, yeah, so each tree is going to have their sort of bonuses. I wonder what the combat one looks like. Enforcer, Gunner, Frogman. That's kind of sweet. Yeah. Anyway, so my point is, there's a lot of like scope for variability. I'm not 100% sure if you have to pick a tree and stick with it, but the way that the speed at which XP goes out is quite slow. And I can't help but wonder that you kind of have to pick a tree, you know what I mean? The bonuses compound and they go into a play style. But regardless, I think the leveling system in this is fantastic. The way that XP is very hard to come by, it takes a long time, and it's taken away if you make a mistake. Like a lot, it sets you back 5 missions sort of thing if you die. It's very, very clever. I'm warming up to the multiplayer on this. Anyway, so like I said, let me know if that's something that you'd like to see. There's a good chance that'll be coming sometime in the future. Alright, cool. But otherwise, that doesn't mean we're abandoning this campaign. We'll just run 2 things side by side. It'll be a separate campaign altogether. Team, we might just leave it there for the time being, and I will catch you guys on the next one.